Welcome back to Dragon Hunting. Amine lied in bed, just staring at the ceiling, thinking. So far, one piece of information had been right. The dragons fled to the north to get away from humans. Somehow, he had found a magical valley filled with creatures and their bloodbound people. These people were called Kyokobu. He had no idea how many dragons lived in the valley, but Toma had assured him there were many. Where did they all call home? The red dragon had been massive. Where could he possibly be hiding himself? True, the valley was big, but if it contained more than a few of that size, it'd be hard to miss. Toma had answered other questions, like, why did humans hunt dragons almost to extinction, especially when it took a small army of humans to take down even a smaller adult dragon? Greed, pure and simple, Toma had said. Dragons make their beds of gold. Amine had lifted his eyebrow in surprise. Really? He scoffed. Of all the stuff they told me, that was the one I didn't believe. Toma laughed. You like the feather bed in your room? Yeah, it's amazing. It's soft and warms to your body temperature. Well, dragons are very heavy, and gold is a soft metal and is like a downy feather to a dragon. Toma even had a few questions of his own. Who enchanted your sword? Amine looked over at his sword. It was nothing special. It had been his sword for years before receiving the enchantment. The king's sorcerer. Do you have any idea of the components or spell he used? No, I just asked for a sword and some of my blood. He knew by the look on Toma's face that the man knew something more about what had happened to his sword, but wasn't going to tell him. It was subtle, but Toma always got a sad, pitying look on his face when he hid some knowledge from Yomine. It's not that he felt he was being lied to, but he wasn't trusted to know all their secrets. Something else to remind him he was an outsider. Amine hadn't wanted to deal with how that made him feel, and went to bed soon after. Now he lay here with the most important question unanswered. How did he get a dragon to volunteer to donate blood for his king? That was his mission. The king's life depended on him. That hadn't changed. He had to find some way to get dragon's blood to his king. Unable to sleep, he rose to see if Toma was still awake. There was a light coming from beneath the master bedroom door. He raised a hand to knock when he heard voices. Cairo, please stop, Toma said in a soft, calming voice. It had a note of desperation. Please don't do this. I need to tell him. Cairo's voice was near the door. You must not. It wouldn't be fair for him to put that kind of burden on his shoulders. Seijiro-sama is right. He needs to choose his own path. Just because he came here doesn't mean he'll want to stay, or even should stay. How can you say that? Cairo's voice rose in pitch, full of agitation. How can you do this to me? He has to stay. Telling him won't make it easier. It may even drive him away. I don't care what Seijiro says. Amine took a step back from the door. There was a rising note of hysteria in Cairo's voice. He's my son! There were muffled sobs, and Amine could only imagine Toma holding his wife close as she cried. Amine stumbled back to his room. So that was why Cairo had been so concerned for him. She had replaced the child she lost with him. He had moved into her child's room and taken its place. He looked around the room. Now it felt more haunted than ever. Amine was very reluctant to leave the room in the morning. It was almost noon by the time he wandered out. He was hoping the house would be empty, but no such luck. When he entered the kitchen, Toma was in his normal place, a book in hand. At least Cairo was nowhere to be seen. Toma looked up as he entered. He smiled. I'm glad you're up. We were concerned your injuries were more severe than we originally thought. No, I'm fine, Amine said, not quite meeting Toma's eye. He was feeling strange and awkward and didn't know what to do about it. Please, sit down, have some lunch, Toma said. Now that I know you're okay, I can leave without worrying. Thank you, Amine said, before grabbing a sandwich from the pile on the table. In his effort to avoid looking at Toma, his eyes landed on an object Toma was rolling back and forth with a foot. Amine stopped eating to stare. Toma followed his gaze. Do you like basketball? Amine completely forgot about his previous intentions and looked at Toma with a grin. Oh, yeah. Why don't you come with me? My team is practicing this afternoon. I'm sure they'd be happy to meet you. Toma stood, tucking the ball under his arm. Amine hesitated. Are you sure? I don't have the best reputation in town now. Toma put his hand on Amine's shoulder. Trust me, they want to meet you. Okay. Amine inhaled a few sandwiches and followed Toma.